Hello, Geeks and Gamers. Matt Lemke with Through Gamer Goggles. We're at Con on the Cob 2013. Jason Hardy is the guest of honor. He is the line developer and editor. I'm going to say both because I just botched it anyway. For Shadowrun, which is a product of Catalyst Game Labs. And gosh, Shadowrun has quite an elusive history, so if you don't know about it, you might not be a geek. We're going to chat a little bit. Well, we didn't really talk about what we're going to chat about, so we're just going to kind of go in and wing things. This is the year of Shadowrun for Catalyst, and they've already done a tremendous amount of stuff. One of the key components is the new edition of Shadowrun, which is SR5, or Shadowrun 5, which is probably where we're going to spend a bit of our time as to where it's going, how it came to where it is, which kind of already did a little bit of that at the Origins interview, but for those of you that aren't up to speed, I'm going to let Jason introduce, you already know who he is, he doesn't have to introduce himself, but I'm going to let him give you a little bit of his background, his history, how long he's been with the Catalyst, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I'm Shadowrun line developer right now. I've been in that position with Catalyst for 4 years now. Before that, I was freelancing with Catalyst Game Labs, so I did a lot of editing and some writing on both Shadowrun and BattleTech products. And I've been working on the lines in one way, shape, or form for longer than that. I did a Shadowrun novel when FanPro was doing the game, and WizKids was doing the miniatures. You remember the Shadowrun Duels? Did you see that? Shadowrun Duels, yeah, they had like these miniatures, but they were like...
I was going to bring them. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about. I'm like, I didn't catch WizKids at first. Yeah. I know exactly. I have them all.
Nice. I barely ever saw them.
Some I have. I really should have brought them in. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah, I stuck here.
Hey, I love seeing them.
I think I might be missing one of the LEs, but they're easy to find on eBay.
Are they? I should look.
They're like, they held their value. They're for the most part anywhere between $5 and $15.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'll have one of the children, or at this hour it might not be children anymore. They might be at the football game already. Pack them up, bring them.
Sweet. But yeah, so I've been involved with Shadowrun. I mean, it was back when FASA had Shadowrun. I did some Crimson Skies novels, and the editor liked it. Yeah, and the editor liked them and asked if there were any other properties I was interested in working on that FASA had, and I just said Shadowrun. Loved that universe, and I wanted to get involved.
So why do you like that universe so much?
Because I love the grittiness of it. I love the combination of fantasy and science fiction. Fantasy is one of my primary loves in literature and gaming and anything. But I also love cyberpunk. And so when you were able to cross the two and put them in the same setting and have that attitude that Shadowrun has, it was just so much fun to read the materials for it, to see the art, because there's just so much iconic art. And it's just such an interesting setting to dive into.
It is. I remember playing Shadowrun in high school, so that would have been 89. We didn't play that system very long because we blew up a whole city block with a fireball. But
it happens.
It did happen. They fixed that since then. And one of the things I like, because I've already written a review on the game, and I haven't played too much, so I kind of steered away from that. And I was so taken by the character creation in Shadowrun 5. And they've got this unique... I'm going to call it a sliding scale, like an old sliding rule.
I know what you're talking about.
I don't, actually. My brother's used it, so I've only heard stories. But they have this... It's without looking at the book and without showing you pages, I really can't do it any justice. But you kind of pick your stat line with it's kind of like a priority level system.
Yep.
And then you plug everything in based off of those priorities. And you can only pick A, B, C, or D for one slot. You can't double pick A, so you can't cheat. And it's pretty balanced. And even if you don't know the system, it doesn't take long. What took me a little bit of time was kind of figuring out some of the special traits and things that you can pick for your characters to give them. They're not called traits in Shadowrun. They're called
qualities.
Qualities, yes. And to do things like give your character a lot more flavor in bonuses or minuses, depending on whether it's a positive or a negative quality. But I was really taken by it because I made 2 characters in about 20 minutes.
That's exactly what we were going for, is we wanted character creation to go quicker while still having some
That's to
flexibility.
me. I mean,
that was really important.
I play a lot of role-playing games, and to me, character creation that takes more than 20 minutes, 30 minutes is really absurd.
Yeah, well, especially because some of the characters have to be created around the table. That when you're waiting for someone else's character to be created,
exactly. Well, that's one of the reasons why we stopped playing Rifts in Palladium games, because every time you go to make a character, it takes like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, it's like, oh boy. And love the universe. You know, just like there's a lot of good universes out there, but you know, you play what you play. A lot of it is because of your community.
Yep.
And you know, you're based around the community. But one of the other things that I liked about the changes in Shadowrun was, well, the size of the book is really impressive.
Yeah, we like to say it's one of the only role-playing games where the book itself is put in the rules as a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it weighs like 4.5 pounds.
Yeah.
It's really, that's impressive. So if you don't know anything about the game system, there's a ton of background material. The other thing is there's always a ton of literature on Shadowrun. I mean, you can't have a game that's been around as long as it's been around without Shadowrun. But how did some of the core mechanic changes come about? What was in the decision process?
When we were talking about Shadowrun 5 early in the process, we brought some of the development team together face-to-face because we're scattered across the country, but we all got together to talk about just the main ideas. And two of the main things we came up with were the idea that's now on the posters that we put in and on the top of the back cover that says everything has a price. And that was a key concept we wanted to emphasize, that there shouldn't be something that you buy and it makes you powerful and it doesn't come with a trade-off. Everything you do, whether it's a quality you take or something you add to your character, whatever it is, should have a price. And you need to be aware of that price. And so we wanted to make sure that mechanic, or that was reflected in the mechanics of the whole system.
And it is.
And the other thing was we wanted as much as possible the unique characteristics of a character, their skills and attributes, to be what made them awesome, to be where dice came from. So that while gear was still useful and plays an important role in the game, it doesn't by itself make your character amazing.
Which I think in previous editions for some of the characters, it did.
Right. I think there were times it happened. And gear still helped, but we wanted what your skills and attributes are to be the core of what makes you awesome.
Right. But moving on, as which was it? Was Randall or was it? It might have been. I think it was Randall. As Randall says, some of our products reflect other products that are out there on the market from other companies. Paizo recently did a NPC codex. Will we see something for Shadowrun that's similar to that, like an archetype codex?
It's been discussed a lot. It just came up recently in the freelancer group that we have. Someone mentioned that. The trick I have with that is trying to figure out a way to make it useful to as many players as possible. Well, because it's useful to game masters right off the bat, and that's great.
Yes, and
but
that's a
if
small,
we can, right, that's a smaller market. So if we can figure out a way to make it useful to players also, then it's something we'll look at. Because we did that with the Street Legends book that came out in 4th edition. That had a lot of NPCs in it. And the way we tried to work it with that book was to incorporate a lot of plot hooks in the write-ups of the NPCs, so that you not only saw how you could use them in a game, but just saw different ways that adventures could go or different ideas for your character. I don't think that's entirely what we'll need to do if we want to get a good NPC codex, but we're still thinking about it.
I was thinking actually more of an archetype codex for Shadowrun. And then that way it could just as easily be an NPC codex for the GMs, but any player can use it. Like, I look back at, like, in SR5, there's only 2 archetypes listed in the main book, right?
Well, we have 16 archetypes of the characters that are rolled up.
Yeah. But there's, like, when you do your character creation, you get to pick. They give you examples of the paths to follow.
Yeah.
So you can kind of.
We have 3 characters in the character creation chapter that show you how to do that.
Yeah, that's right. It was 3, not 2. And if you went the route of the different archetypes, like for the Gunslinger Adept, I played too many games. Use tier system, not a level system for experience, right? Effectively.
It's just, you get karma. You don't go up levels. You just, as you get karma, you then use that karma to buy
other things.
Improvements to your character.
It's not really
karma and money.
Yeah, it's not really a level
No.
per se, but it opens other doors. So you can have like different stages of experience for these characters.
Yeah, the number of karma you've earned in the course of your character's lifetime serves as a representation of your experience. So yeah, if you've got someone that's earned 1,000 karma, you know that they've been on the streets for a while and done a lot.
Yeah. So I think you recently finished up, or you're getting ready to maybe go into the Ares Corporation quite a bit.
Yeah, we've done some. There probably will be some more, but Stormfront definitely had a lot about it. But yeah, we're definitely not done. They have a lot of problems, and we're going to keep exploring those problems because there's been some rotting on the inside, and we want to look at just what the effect of that's going to be. Some of that will be played out probably with Shadowrun Online. We're having a lot of fun with the browser-based game that Cliffhanger Productions is working on, sharing plots.
So it might not be the end of this year yet. It might be into next year.
No. This one's going to play out for a while. The Ares plot line has got some legs in it. So they came to a moment of crisis in the Stormfront book, but especially with missions and the way missions are going to be developing over the next few years, and then you'll see it in the plot line. There's a lot going on that's going to shake that corporation up.
Okay, the Stormfront book was a source book, right?
Yep.
Okay. Not. The way at first I thought it was, I was thinking it was a novella or a novel.
No, that was a source book, plot source book.
And what else can we see? I mean, I don't want to do that because you already kind of did it in the audio. But if you guys don't get to watch the audio from what's going on in Shadowrun from Con on the Cob, what else is coming for the RPG this year?
Well, we have the introductory adventure, Splintered State, that should be coming out around November because it's already at the printers, and that'll follow up on one of the plot lines in Stormfront, where people are just having trouble maintaining their identities. There's weird things going on in people's heads, so Splintered State will take that plot line and develop it in a way that lets people get into their first adventure for Shadowrun. And it's a good way of exposing you to the different elements of the game and involving you in Matrix and magic and just all the different sides of the game. And a really fun adventure to boot. You need to be good. And then we got Stolen Souls, which also has the same plot line, but is a source book. And it'll give some information about Manhattan and how it's being affected by this plot. And we'll talk a lot about extractions, because what we want to do with some of the source books is focus on a different type of run in each book. Oh, AC.
You want to
AC, I know you're tired.
Yeah, she is. I'll take her if you want to.
You want to go over and have a change of pace and see what happens? I want to focus on, and the baby disappeared. Just in case there was an edit. We want to focus on a different type of run in each book, so that Stolen Souls will focus on extractions and the techniques you'll need to be effective at extracting someone from like a corporate office, and the tools you might need for extractions. Then we'll have data steals as the subject of another source book. We'll have hooding, so the Shadowrunners who want to be more noble and rob from the rich and give to the poor, we'll have some source books to talk about that. And if we need to have a wet work book, we'll look at that too. So we'll have books that focus on those different techniques, and the first one, like I said, will be Stolen Souls, and that'll cover extractions. The other thing that I'm really excited about that hopefully we'll be seeing very soon is the introductory box set.
I'm dying to see that, actually.
Yeah, the Shadowrun, as you mentioned in the book, that we tried to give a lot of examples and help new players along, but it is still 480 pages.
It's undaunting.
So it's a little intimidating, and so we wanted something that just lowered that learning curve and let people jump right in. And the introductory box set is a much simpler rule set, pre-generated characters, and adventures in it, so you can just leap right in, start running right out the gate, and have a lot of fun. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing that out.
I am looking forward to Street Gangers, too.
Sprawl Gangers, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, we've run into a few hitches in the process, but the rules are really exciting. And so we were hoping to have that out by the end of this year, but that's not quite ready. But the rules are finishing up the playtesting, and
I have
we'll get
a
into
question
production.
about the rules. Are they going to use the same kind of dice pool system that the RPG uses?
Essentially, not identical, because they don't want the same level of dice, but the basics of mechanics we're trying to keep consistent as much as possible across the different properties. So yeah, there will be similarities between Shadowrun 5 and...
So it'd be a small step for people.
Yeah, exactly. We want, once you play any Shadowrun game, we want there to be that level of familiarity with both the setting and the rules.
And then, of course, there's Crossfire.
Yeah, Crossfire will be out soon, too. That's the deck building game. And that's exciting. That's a lot of fun to play.
That game is really good.
Yeah.
I had the chance to play it with you in Origins, and it's really good. I don't say that about a lot of card games, but it's really good.
They did a really good job. I know I read some of this concern when we first announced it, that people were worried we'd take some generic deck building game and slap a Shadowrun skin onto it, which is not what we wanted to do. We wanted the whole game to have a Shadowrun feel and to catch the teamwork essence of Shadowrun and the obstacles that you might run into, and the designers did a great job of building that all in. So it's a cooperative game, and it even has character advancement. So as you complete the hard missions, you're going to be able to keep moving your character up and find harder things. You're doing very well with her.
I like kids. I'm good with them. You're stealing the show, though. You know that.
Yeah, she's just going to have to get used to being the cutest one in the room.
That's a good look. Where would you like to see things go? I mean, obviously, they're kind of probably going that way.
Yeah,
So that was kind of not a loaded question that it was meant to be.
If you would have asked me 4 years ago when I took the job, what would you like to see happen with Shadowrun? I think I would have said it would be great if we could have a new version of the game, and a computer game, and a card game, and a board game, and a miniatures game, and all of that working together. I mean, that's just exactly a good thing, a good strategy for Shadowrun, and a good way to get people playing. Because people play in a lot of different ways, and I want anyone who wants to have fun to be able to have fun in the Shadowrun setting.
And they really love the universe. I think the universe has gotten better since I played second edition, or first edition. I think there's been a lot of things that I'm totally unaware of, like the Matrix. I really don't know anything about it. But the way I remember it, there was a great amount of prejudice and discrimination between the races. Now, whether or not that was just me being 17,
no, that definitely was there,
and that seems to be gone. So it was cool to kind of see it mature over that time period. I don't even remember what the main timeline was in first edition.
It was about 2050 when it
it's about,
first started, so about 25 years.
Yeah, that's a lot like what we went through. So I see the reflection, and I appreciate that stuff. I don't think a lot of other people see things like that.
You talk to 20 different Shadowrun fans, you get 20 different opinions about the universe. Yeah. And it's interesting because it's a challenging line to walk, because Shadowrun is dystopian. It's not meant to be a place you want to go to. But
I think it's gotten...
You also can't have it so dark that it extinguishes hope.
Well, I think it has gotten... I think it has lightened up.
Yeah, and so it's
still dark.
Right.
I seem to remember everything in the first version was everything's dark and dirty and dingy. I just mostly finished. I've got 3 stories left, and I think it's Spell and Chrome.
Mm-hmm. Spell and Chrome.
Yeah. And some of the stories, you can tell they were written from the perspective of different editions, I think.
Yeah, I think they were.
Like Jen Rabb's version, everything, her troll character was really cool, but everything was kind of like she was in the slums, and a lot of other people kind of took the approach of everything was kind of dirty like that. Whereas I read the 5th edition book, and I don't necessarily get that.
Yeah, and I think variety is part of what you want in the setting.
It's going to be everybody's interpretation, too.
Yeah,
like you
and
said.
so having a room for people to go in. But it is a challenge to keep balancing it and figure out where the right balance should be, because everyone has a different preference, and so trying to find that right sweet spot is difficult. It's interesting with like Shadowrun Returns, the video game, their first setting was Seattle, and they very much went with the dark and dingy and gritty Seattle. But I don't know if you've seen any screenshots of what they're working on for Berlin.
Screenshots of the game. Well, wait, there's 2 games, right?
There's 2 games, Shadowrun Returns and Shadowrun Online, but Shadowrun Returns is working on
that's the one
update
with
Berlin.
Jordan, right?
Yeah, that's what Jordan Weissman's working on.
I saw screenshots of that at Gen Con 2012, so
Oh,
a lot
okay.
has probably changed.
Yes, a lot has changed, but for the Berlin setting that they're working on, there'll be a whole new adventure set there. It definitely has more of an old world grandeur feel to it than the grime of Seattle. Some of it's decaying old world grandeur, but it definitely has a different feel than the first pack.
That's good. I think
so. It's interesting to have that variety.
I think some players need that because
Mhm.
a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of players, but I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in Seattle and they don't really go beyond that.
Yeah, and we want to make that a fun place to play because it's a great place for Shadowrunners to gather.
it started, yeah.
You could expand the universe out, and there's a lot of different places. You can go downhill and go to Chicago, which in Shadowrun setting is
Gotta be
a
insane.
nightmare
Yeah.
with bug spirits and all sorts of yuck. But there are other cities where you can either go different or even go a little upscale. There are
We
times.
can always go to Japan.
Yep, yeah, you can go to Neo-Tokyo, and that's gleaming corporate capital. Hong Kong's got a lot of bright areas in it, and there's a fair amount of slums, too, in the 6th world, but there's a lot of variety you can...
So, are there any more cons this year for Shadowrun?
Or
Or I should say Catalyst. I'm sure there's going to be more cons that people are going to be running Shadowrun at.
yeah, I know, yeah, we're running a lot of them. Ohio Con, I forgot what that's coming up, but that's...
Oh, Mid-Ohio Con? Or BashCon?
I think there might be some at BashCon. I'd have to talk to Ray Regal, who is running it, but he's got a lot of cons going on. I know that last year Catalyst had a presence at Board Game Geek Con.
Oh, I didn't even know they did one.
Yeah, I guess down in Dallas. And so I think we'll probably be sending someone down there again just because we're branching more out into board and card games.
Right.
But I know people just got back from New York Comic Con. I think we should be wrapping it up because there's not much year left.
There's not.
We need to get work done. There's usually a small con, just because it's fairly close to me in Wisconsin, EgoCon that I tend to go to because my wife got invited as an artist guest once.
Oh,
I
really?
just tag on her coattails.
I know.
So we've been going back there every year. I try to have Shadowrun stuff there and just have fun.
So what's it like to be married to an artist?
It's great. It's great. She's, our whole apartment has beautiful pictures all over the place.
Yeah,
So,
that's got to be cool.
It's nice, yeah.
I buy lots of beautiful art and I never hang it up because I'm lazy.
So it's great to have someone who has a visual eye because I'm more about the words. I don't have that visual flair, so it's good to see how she thinks. And good to know also that she'll understand if I get absorbed in a project and I'm doing something and forget to clean the house for a little bit, that she'll understand that that's how it works because she'll do us the same thing. So we have the same kind of temperament sometimes. That's nice.
Your belly's hard. Here you go. Go back to Daddy.
All right. Cool.
Well, I guess on that note, since somebody's stealing the show, we'll say... You coming back next year?
I hope so, yeah. I've done this convention a lot, and it's always fun to go to.
Really? I've never seen it.
I missed the past 2 years,
That's when it started.
but yeah,
That's when I started going.
I was at, I don't know if I was at the very first one, which was like,
Darn it, my fiction would probably be done.
I think the first one was like 10 people at Andy's house, and I missed that one. But when they moved to the first hotel...
really? You were in one of the originals.
I wasn't at that one, but when they first moved to a Quality Inn, and there's like 40 or 60 of us there.
That's some serious history.
Yeah, and so I did a writing seminar for like the first 6 years or so of Comic-Con.
Okay.
And I missed a couple of years because family got complicated.
It does.
No, I shouldn't be looking at you because it was the other one, not you. It's the older boy that's the problem.
She's not a girl yet. I mean, a young lady yet. So
No.
you got plenty of room. Anyway, we're going to sign off. Let him take care of his little one. And
time.
we'll see you next year. Well, we'll see you before next year at Comic-Con 2014. So have a good one. Thank you. Thank you, Jason.